Hello and welcome to the weekly update for the Community High School community. Now, I'm going to start where we started so often in recent weeks, which is to talk about those pupils who are doing SQA assessments. It's going very well, and we would say that we're pleased with what the outcomes are so far, and please keep asking your child how they're doing in their assessments so that you keep right up to date with how things are going. However, to help with that, we are, as we've promised, still intending to issue our first report next week, which will give you the first estimate of the final grade that may come out in June. Now, when we give you this initial estimate, please bear in mind that in some cases it will not be based on the full evidence yet. It could go up and it could go down, but it will give you an indication of where things are going at the present time, and hopefully it will be encouraging and give us that boost to your young person as they work towards the last few weeks and try and finalise those grades. For some pupils, they have actually done most of the assessments already, which is great, but others still have a bit to do. It really just depends on the courses and how much assessment is required and so on. Now, we are aware that some pupils have completed a great deal of their assessments, and some will be transitioning from school onto colleges and universities, jobs and so on. And we would say to you that we'd really want you to encourage your child to keep attending all the classes where assessment is still taking place. I think that's important. We are considering how we can put some provision in place for those who finished their assessment and need to go on with work for next year. We think we'll be able to maybe get some online provision created, which will allow pupils to start courses in the next few weeks for those who have completed assessments. Our main focus has to remain on those who still need those assessments to give them the maximum chance of getting the best possible grades by the end of the year. Remember, the date we have to submit the final grade is the 25th of June, but school does end on the 24th of June. So effectively, 24th of June will be our deadline. But it is going well, and as I say, please keep talking to your child and encouraging them even to do as well as they can in the next few weeks. Now, we've also talked in the last few weeks about the first to third year and the need to do something a wee bit different at the end of term, just to finish us off in the last couple of weeks, so that we have a nice end to the year, which has been so very difficult. And we said we'd do a sort of enhancement theme. We've now chosen a theme. We're going to choose a theme called When People Come Together. It recognises things like the European Football Championships taking place, the G8 Summit for Climate in Glasgow, but it could mean a range of other things. So each subject will take that theme, when people come together, and run with it and make some lessons that are just a little bit unusual, more interesting than the norm, if you like, and just give the pupils an experience at the end of the year, which will just tide them over into the summer. It has been a difficult term for our younger pupils, and we very much recognise that. Now, just two or three other things, just very quickly. The first one is that at the moment we notice that on a Monday, a lot of our pupils come back a little bit unhappier than on other days of the week. We find that there's a little bit more unrest in the school on a Monday. The vast majority of pupils, as always, are perfectly well behaved, but just a small minority, but larger on Monday than other days, do cause a few issues. And we'd simply ask to make sure that your young person is in a good frame of mind when they come into school on Monday. We think it's probably something to do with the lockdown and the fact that weekends are difficult at the moment. And I think some youngsters are quite frustrated by the situation. When they come into school on the Monday, they're really not quite in the right frame of mind to get on with their work. Now, if you feel that your child is very agitated, please encourage them to come and speak to their guidance teacher, and we can make sure that they're okay before they go to class. A number of you may have children who are in the primary at this stage, and especially primary 7. And it's just to give you a quick update on transition. And we will be communicating this to our primary school cohort as well. But it's been decided that for this year, across Fife, there will not be a transition visit before the holidays. We will do virtual transition, where we will put a number of videos online so that youngsters coming into the school at the end of the summer can see the school, see some of their teachers and so on. We did a lot of this last year. It's very successful. We are hoping, though, to make an actual physical school visit before the return in August. So that's being organised at the moment. It's kind of hot off the press, so we haven't got our heads entirely around how we'll do that. But our intention is to make sure that the first years coming in for next year do get a school visit before they actually turn up on the first day of term, and hopefully an opportunity to meet their new classmates who would be part of that visit. That's something that we're working on at the moment, but it is something which is going on across Fife. Finally, and this is just good news for you and the school and so on, and that's to say that the new timetable is well on its way. We know that we can create a timetable which meets the requirements of pupils for next year as they gave us through their course choices and so on. Now, that frankly is always a huge sense of relief. And you might think, well, of course they're going to have a timetable, it's a school. But the truth of the matter is that when the school is so full and we're trying to meet the demands of such a large cohort of pupils, it does become increasingly difficult every year. It's a heavily computerized process, and I've got to say that without the computer being able to work through the combination of classes and permutations and so on, we might well struggle to actually deliver a timetable. But we have got one, a working timetable. We're tweaking it at the moment, but we will be fine for August. Always good news, and especially for Mr. Bird, who sets the timetable. Okay, well, that's really about it for this week. We have 4 weeks left. It's not long to go, and we've just got to make sure that we have as good an end to the year as possible. I didn't even mention COVID today, but all I'd say is we are still keeping our protocols very, very strong. We know it's still out in the community. There's still schools across Scotland who are experiencing difficulties, including schools in Fife, and we're just hoping to get through to the end of the year without any significant issues. Okay, thanks again for listening, and bye just now.